and I am with you for the subject of ABFM for the CAIIB 2023. So we'll be talking about the advanced business and financial management today, looking forward to more principles. So let's understand the principles of management that we were talking about. Okay, here comes the first question, everyone. It says it is similar to harmony, not discord, and believes in mutual collaboration between the workers and the management. The main purpose is to substitute internal competition with cooperation. Everybody knows that there's an internal competition going on. So if we talk about internal competition that is there in the organization, but we need to make sure that this is basically eliminated, or at least it is basically substituted with cooperation, because people need to support each other if they want to go together. So basically that is required by them. The concept that is highlighted here is science, not the rule of thumb, maximum but not restricted output, mental revolution, and the last one is cooperation, not individualism. So if we look forward to this particular scenario, then which particular principle is covered here? So what would be the answer, everyone? It is similar to harmony, not discord. But it is basically related to the fact that people should really look forward towards substituting their personal interests with the organization. The correct answer is cooperation, not individualism. Cooperation, not individualism, clearly says that you should work with the organization all together. You should not be stuck with the thought that you are in need in terms of the organization's interest. You need to put the organization first and yourself afterwards, because if the organization grows, automatically your pay or your income and your growth is also ensured. Next question. The work study consists of two techniques. What are the techniques which are considered in this area? The work study consists of two techniques, that is namely the method study, work measurement, then method study and fatigue study. Then we have the method study and the motion study, and the last one is method, motion and fatigue study. Okay, if I really have to specify, there are different kind of studies, or the various studies which have been techniques that have been given by F.W. Taylor, which included the fatigue study, which means you get tired, so you need a break. That was related to the fatigue study. Then when we talk about the motion study, it says there are multiple motions. For example, if I am pulling over the gloves here, this is not something which I can say this is basically a productive motion. But when I pick up the pen and then I start writing, this is a motion, because this is a productive motion. While keeping the pen onto a side and then taking it up, that is an ancillary motion, which is required if I want to teach, because I cannot keep the particular pen all the time on the pen tab now. So technically it says the work study is consisting of two techniques, which includes number one, that is method study, and the work measurement, and then is method study and fatigue, method and motion. The correct answer is A. Why? Because method and work measurement includes everything. That means it includes all of these. Let's talk about what does it include. Number one, time study. Time study talks about the time taken to do something. So first of all, whenever we are doing something, the very first thing that would hit you is what is the time required to do that particular work. That is something which we define as time study. Time study states that the time required should be noted down, and this would determine the productivity of the person who's working there. Right? If there's something that you can finish off within a time period of 10 to 15 minutes and you are taking more than 30 minutes, that means you're not being productive. So time study helps to understand the time period which is required to do a certain thing. Then comes the motion study. As I talked about, it is of three types. One is productive motion, which is required to be done. It is the productive one, which is required to be done to finish off the work properly. Then is non-productive one, the unproductive, I can say. That is unproductive. This will not lead to a success, but this is still required. So it is the unproductive motion. And the last one is productive, unproductive, and ancillary. This is an additional motivation, which additional motion that we are doing, but this is required for the productive motion in order to achieve the entire working process in a proper way. So basically it can be a motion which is productive and then unproductive, and last is ancillary. The one which is required for the production is productive, and then if there's anything that we are doing which is not going for the particular production process at all, for example sitting right now, eating, if I say about doing anything which does not involve my work or even the resting area, that is unproductive. And let's talk about the next point there, fatigue study. See, if we study the motions now, if we have multiple unproductive motions, what will happen? If we have multiple unproductive motions, it would be called a fatigue study. Why would it be called a fatigue study? Because there are multiple motions that we are looking forward to. Um, in terms of multiple motions, what happens is, see, there are so many motions that you are doing, but it's not helping you at all. Why? Because such motions are creating a tiredness in you, and you are losing your focus because you are extremely and physically as well as mentally exhausted. So that's not something that you can look forward to. Fatigue study says that after how much time you need a break, that is fatigue study. See, if in every organization you will find, as soon as the working time starts, there's a particular time for tea break, then there is a lunch break, then they have another tea break, and then the day ends. So why are there these three pauses? So these three pauses are included so the particular person remains fresh and is able to work in a proper way, because you cannot push someone to keep on working throughout the 8-hour shift. With that 8-hour shift, at least half an hour to quarter an hour, you are paid even for the lunch time that you are sitting there. That means you are being productive to the organization, but you still reserve the break, because otherwise you will get exhausted and you will not be able to achieve what you wanted to. Right? And the next one is called the method study, everyone. Method study is the study which talks about the best method that can be taken up. Okay, when we talk about method study, it says there must be an ideal method which would reduce our chances of any losses, right? So that is what we look forward to. The method study states there are certain things which would reduce our cost, but something that would increase the productivity and will help the organization to achieve the goals. That is what method study talks about. It says there are certain things that will help you to grow further. So then method study is taken up. Now, these all are a part of the techniques of scientific management. Right? So let's move on towards the next question. The instruction clerk is accountable for preparing instruction cards containing information about the kind of work, procedures to apply, equipment, raw material to be used. Subsequently, the data compiled is handed to a gang boss, speed boss, inspector, or the repair boss. The instruction card clerk, okay, this instruction card clerk is responsible for giving instructions to the people regarding what kind of work they are supposed to do, how they are supposed to do. But then they say they give the information regarding the kind of work, procedures, equipment to someone. How, why would they give the information to someone? Will speed boss be responsible for it, gang boss, repair boss, or inspector? Okay, the gang boss is actually responsible for ensuring that the productivity is not hampered. That means the production process of the organization should continue error free without any hustle. It should continue. That is the basic functioning of gang boss. So gang boss would make sure that whatever is going on in the business, there is no interruption that would affect the productivity or the production cycle or anything relevant to our working. So the entire information is given from the instruction card clerk to the gang boss that these are the various areas where we might face problems. So we just need to make sure that certain problems do not occur and the continuity or the flow of production does not stop. So the answer is the gang boss. Speed boss ensures the speed. Inspector makes sure that whatever is going on is as per the requirements. And repair boss makes sure that nothing goes in certain with whatever the wherever the repair is required, it is repaired. Gang boss will make sure that the arrangements of the all the machineries, equipments, resources, whatever is required by you, you get those things. That is the work of gang boss, to make the arrangement for all the resources which is required by the people in the organization. Next is Dash aims at eliminating unnecessary diversity of the products. It results in saving of the cost of labor, machine and tools, simplification, standardization, benchmarking or method study. What would be the answer, everyone? Dash aims at eliminating unnecessary diversity. Okay. Earlier, na, when the industrialization happened, everybody was so involved in the industrialization process that they really forgot about the fact that when you are into the production process, you need to stop it. Because what is happening is that you're preparing multiple things, and those which are not even at the proper standards. For example, when they were preparing nuts and bolts, then they were constantly taking out nuts and bolts altogether. There was no particular standard nut or bolt. If I prepare one of my tools based upon that specific nut or bolt, and if I go to the company again and say I need the same size, they won't even be able to know, because they didn't standardize it. So then there was a need to make a specific way of working. For example, we had to make sure that this is, if I buy a t-shirt, the t-shirt would have a defined shoulder length, defined the length of the sleeves, the length of the t-shirt altogether. That was already defined. They predetermined, and on the basis of this, they said one particular size would be XS, one would be S, one would be L, then we will have double XL, and then we will have triple XL, and then we'll move towards the plus sizes. So that means they eliminated all the different sizes that were going on a random basis, and they decided, no, let's standardize and then work according to the standards that we have formed. So correct answer is simplification, that is based upon standardization. Once we standardize the entire process, then the superfluous standards, superfluous sizes were improved, they were actually eliminated. All the superfluous or the extra sizes which were introduced, they were all eliminated, and that is what we call as simplification. We simplified the entire working. Okay, but before we move forward, let's talk about criticism of scientific management. No doubt Taylor's principles were really good, but there were certain things which he could never get rid of. There were certain allegations which were placed upon the organization and were said that these were the things that the organization, or sorry, the techniques of scientific management, or FW Taylor, failed to look forward to. Number one, workers point of view. They were given one specific work, and they were supposed to do that work for a long period of time, and they were also supposed to achieve the goals. What kind of standards were those? Monotony of working definitely reduces the productivity of the person. Then deplete job opportunities, that was also there, because his work was so based upon the capital intensive techniques and less work intensive, or the personal incentive. That means labor incentive working was very limited. So again, the more of the work was more relied towards the industrialization process. So not something that was good enough. Then no scope for trade unions. He didn't talk about persons at all. He was all involved in machines, productivities, efficiency. He never looked at the fact that humans are also affected by the working. Then comes exploitation. In terms of exploitation, what would happen here is, the exploitation was definitely there, because anybody who was working for the organization, they were stuck with the particular thought that they were supposed to give the best working. Now, they if they won't give that particular best working, then they will lose their jobs, or at least they will lose their chances of receiving money, isn't it? Then the next point is negative consequences of on the worker's health. Whatever the health of the particular person would be, the health was badly affected, because they were given some random standards which were not even achievable. How can you expect a particular person to achieve a good amount of targets every single day? A person gets affected, he gets tired, he is definitely someone who can get affected with multiple things, isn't it? So then workers health usually got affected with it. Okay, now the next point is from the employee point of view, what was the issue of the scientific management? The scientific management was a time consuming process. You were giving us a specific method. How could we look forward to it? The basic problem regarding F.W. Taylor was he was making sure that humans were working like machines, but they forgot the ultimate thing was the human element, which was definitely required to be considered. Then again, if you are considering towards the making of the best foot forward, you are looking forward towards the best method, then you are testing. So that was an expensive affair. And overproduction, again, it was so involved with the production, they didn't know where to stop. So technically there was another issue, that there was an overproduction scenario there, right? Now comes the next point, everyone. The principle which violates the principle of functional foremanship. What was that particular principle? Which is definitely against the functional foremanship. Division of work, authority and responsibility, discipline, or unity of command. Okay, we have done it the other way around. So now let's talk about this. See, when we talk about the functional foremanship, it said keep the planning and the execution people separately. But the point was they were having 8 persons on one worker. Was it really justified? Can you handle 8 bosses, 8 people telling you what to do and what not to do, and that too having their individual thought processes and telling you what to do and what not to do from their individual point of view, not on the basis of other people that they're working with? That means this was definitely an unattainable standard. So unity of command said consider a human being now. Basically, he can be handled by only his senior. By multiple people, when he's handled, he'll be confused which particular work to do. Think about it. When we were kids, if normally this is what we know as a student, I what I did was, if there are n number of teachers, if all the 6 subjects were there, right? So if there are 6 subjects and every teacher gives you homework, will you be able to do the homework? 90% students will say, sir, this particular teacher had given us homework, this particular teacher has given up us homework, so technically we couldn't do your homework. Technically, they did homework of none of them, but they were supposed to tell that we were overburdened while they were working on none of those subjects. So that is also a practical thing that happened when we were kids. Do you think that people grow up and they do not take advantage when n number of people are telling you to do some work and you cannot achieve that particular target at all? Yes, such things happen. That's why they say there should be only one superior for one subordinate so that he can be directly checked upon. Right? So that's it. Now, let's look forward towards the end. If you're preparing for the CIB examination this year, then this is the perfect time. You can join our the batch 2.0, which has recently been launched. So you can prepare for the examination with us. But how can you prepare? Let's look forward to that. You can go on to www.adda247. There you will find our CIB 2023 batch, where you will find all the details of the batches that are coming up. Rather, the batch 3.0 is also being launched there. That means we have got 3 batches of the JIB as well as the CIB. For CIB, the third batch is here. That would be launched from 20th of January. So if you're preparing for this examination, perfect opportunity is there to join our batch, where you'll get ABM, BFM, AFM as well as the BRBL. Preparing for this, you can click on the area of buy now, where you'll get over on 500 hours of live classes will be there to guide you in terms of your preparation, and you can use the code Y541 and you will get it at 77% discount. That would be available at 5519.77. So preparing for the examination of CIB, then you can look forward to our classes. Okay, I hope it's visible now. It would be 5519.77 after after using the code Y541. That is after availing the discount. So this is it for the day, everyone. If preparing for this examination, then kindly go ahead and check out our courses. Thank you.